Hey everyone, and welcome. We're glad you're joining us. You know, we all interact with government agencies every day, but what about the one that's literally with you on every trip, every commute, every time you get a package? We're going to take a deep dive into the Department of Transportation, or the DOT. And believe me, it's about so much more than just the roads you drive on. So let me ask you, when you hear those three letters, DOT, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably highways, maybe some bright orange construction cones, and of course, traffic signs. And yeah, that stuff is a huge part of their job, but honestly, it's just scratching the surface. All right, let's start right where you'd expect. We'll kick things off with a part of the DOT that we all see every day, everything that happens on the ground. This is really the foundation of what they do, and the scale is, well, it's just massive. So on the ground, the DOT is like a whole team of specialists. You've got the Federal Highway Administration, they're in charge of the actual roads. Then there's the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHSA, making sure the cars on those roads are safe, think crash tests and safety recalls. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, they focus just on the big rigs, commercial trucks and buses. And for everything on a track, from massive freight trains to the subway you take to work, that's where the Federal Railroad and Transit Administrations come in. You know, this quote on the slide really nails it. These agencies manage the arteries of our nation. That's such a perfect way to put it. They're the reason this incredibly complex web of roads and rails that we all rely on actually works, and works safely. It's a gigantic job. Okay, so that's the DOT we all think we know, but this is where things get really interesting. What if I told you the DOT's job doesn't stop where the road ends? What if it stretches thousands of feet up into the sky and even into pipes buried deep under our towns? So now, let's look up. We're about to meet the guardians of the skies. Because yes, the Department of Transportation is absolutely in charge of making sure everything that flies does so safely and efficiently. And that agency is, of course, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. I mean, think about it. Every single time you step on a plane, you're putting your trust in a branch of the DOT. The FAA handles air traffic control, they certify every plane, and they write the rulebook for the entire aviation industry. It's a huge responsibility, and it all falls under the DOT. Okay, so we've covered land, we've covered air, but the DOT's authority goes even further. Now we're heading out to the open water. They're also the masters of our waterways, watching over that huge network of shipping and safety at sea. First up is the Maritime Administration, also known as MERIT. This group is absolutely essential to our economy. They keep our ports running, manage our fleet of commercial ships, and really champion the U.S. shipping industry all around the world. Now get ready, because this is the one that surprises almost everyone. The United States Coast Guard. Yep, it also falls under the Department of Transportation's huge umbrella. We usually think of them doing search and rescue, but a central part of their job is enforcing maritime law and making sure boats and ships are safe in our waters. That fits perfectly with the DOT's mission of transportation safety. And for our last big surprise, we're going from the wide open seas to deep, deep underground. This is the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, and it might be one of the most important agencies you've never even heard of. It's their job to oversee millions of miles of pipelines carrying gas, oil, and other materials, making sure they operate safely to protect our communities. So you see, when you start putting all these different pieces together, the highways, the airways, the seas, the pipelines, you finally get the full picture. The DOT isn't just a bunch of separate offices. It's one single, unified system with a clear purpose: to keep an entire nation in motion and to do it safely. This table here on the slide just lays it all out so clearly. You can see how it's all organized. You've got your land group with the highway, rail, and transit folks. Air is all FAA. Sea has the Coast Guard and the Maritime Administration. And then materials covers those vital pipelines. Each one has a laser focus, but they're all working toward that same mission. 9. That's the number. We just walked through 9 major administrations, all operating together under the DOT banner. That number alone really shows you the incredible scale and complexity of what it takes to keep over 330 million people moving every single day. So the next time you're driving or flying, or heck, even just turning on a gas stove at home, remember this huge invisible network. From way up in the sky to the pipes buried way down below, the DOT's real mission is to make sure that you, your family, and everything you depend on gets to where it's going safely. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. Just consider your day so far. The car you drove, that package that showed up on your doorstep, the flight a family member took to come visit. How many of these silent guardians were working behind the scenes to make it all happen? As you can see now, the answer is probably way more than you ever thought.